some time.
Yeah.
I
And
think
if
it should
you
be
don't mind just hitting record and enabling screen share, that would be grand. Thank you.
okay. We're all done, and you are under the spotlight time, as it
Yeah.
were. I think.
Don't mind just
So we are now streaming live. We are
yes.
recording. Spotlight's on you, Libby. And without any further introduction, over to you.
Welcome, welcome. This is one of my favourite topics because it throws out all the things that you might think you know about how to be successful in business. So welcome those of you that have seen me before. Welcome to those of you that are new. Let me just get, hello Archie. Archie and I have just been on a call, that's lovely. Let me just get a heads up. Can I just get a note of anyone who's new to my work, who hasn't seen me before, just jump in the chat and say hello and let me know where you're listening in from, because I always like to know that as well. My work is something that Genius U have brought into their large mighty machine because this applies to everybody. This applies, it doesn't matter what stage you're at in business, it doesn't matter what industry you're in business. It also doesn't matter if you don't even run a business. This matters for life. This is one of those things. Hello, Joyce from South Africa. Hello, Mihaela from Belgium. This is good. I love an international audience. I know we've got Peter from South Africa. I know we've got Archie as well. What I'm here to talk about today is about some rules. Now, rules are not very sexy, are they? People telling you what to do is not very exotic. But this is one of those things where when we learn certain truths, it makes your life so much easier. So there is a truth about who you are, and that is unalienable. And this is one of those things that is absolutely without question, and that is your name. So when you say your name out loud, there's a resonance in your body, there's an acceptance, and you can try this if you like. Just put your hand on your heart and just really quickly just say, my name is, and then say a fake name. So if your name's Marie, you might want to say, my name is David, just to be really dramatic. Like choose an opposite sex or an opposite or another language or something that doesn't feel real, and just feel, where do I feel? Yes, Duncan, you may be Susan. Just feel, where does this come in your body? Where does it feel like in you? That disconnect, the dissonance. Notice for yourself where that is. And you might want to try it standing up, because what you'll notice is there is a bodily response. You have a somatic response to untruth. You just may not have ever thought of it before. You just may not have ever felt it in your body. So try it for yourself. Just try it right now. Some people put their hand on the heart, some put their hand on their throat because their throat is more active. But I just want you to deliberately connect in and say that out loud. My name is David, or my name is Barbara, or something that just try it. So if I say, I can't even, it literally, I don't know if you saw that. I had a physical reaction. I couldn't even say it. And then there's a reason for that, is because I deliberately don't say things that aren't true. That's a choice that I've made in my life many years ago for lots of reasons. And so physically for me, it's really uncomfortable to say something. So I'm very deliberately, I'm looking at my bookshelf. Okay. My name is Michael. And I don't know if you notice, I had a little chin tuck there. I don't like stepping into that, so my body pulled me back away from it. Feel where you hold distruth. And now do the opposite. Do the opposite. And by the way, there's some questions coming in direct in the chat. Don't ask me questions here because you'll just distract me. Save those to the end. Or ask Duncan or Rob if they're in the room. Yes, you can be me, Peter. But you are me, I am you, but the point of identity is that you are you first. You are you first. And if you're trying to be me, that will also not resonate for you right now. And I know Peter said that flippantly, but thank you, Peter, because it leads me beautifully onto my first point here. So there's 5 rules that I want to talk to you about today, because some people out there are crushing it, right? Some people out there are absolutely nailing it and others aren't. Why is that? And I'm one of those that people hold up as being an overnight success. I know how many years it took me to get that overnight success. It took a lot of work on me to get to that overnight success. I know that, for example, in Genius U, there was a time when Michelle Clark introduced me on stage and, oh, here's Libby, and now she's earning millions. And I'm like, I'm not yet, I'm not. And it was quite funny because her perception of me was that I'd come out of nowhere and instantly hit millions. The truth is, I got to 10K in 3 months. I got to 10K months in 3 months. Let me say that properly. I started earning in my business £10,000 every month within 3 months. That is exceptional. I know that not everyone will get those results. And then I hit 100K in 11 months. I know that's exceptional too. That's one of 6% of entrepreneurs that do that. However, here's the truth. I did a set of steps. I did a series of things, and guess what? I'm going to teach you some of those today because these things are universal and they translate to success in life as well. So if you're here and you haven't got a business, I know not everyone runs a business in Entrepreneurs Institute, that's fine, because what I'm going to talk about will help you too. So without further ado, let's go. What I'm going to talk to you about today is some very important principles. My Tame Your Brain system is something that I've built after years of working with other businesses, years of helping as a consultant in many other shapes of business. And I learned that one of the first things that you see a successful business do is they get blinding clarity on one thing, and that's where they're standing now. That is the ground beneath their feet now. That is the terrain on which their feet, metaphorically, as a business, are planted now. So the T in Tame Your Brain stands for terrain, and it stands for learn where you are now. Why? Because rule number 1, you might want to write this down. Rule number 1 is the most fundamental. It is the most basic, but it is the most important because of that. And that is be you. Not who you want to be, not where you're going, and certainly not what everybody else is doing. Why? Because you might not be there yet. You might be looking at somebody else and going, wow, I wish I was them. But you cannot be them. You cannot shape yourself to fit because you will have missed some of the vital things they did along the way to get to be them. Growth is an exponential journey, and it is also linear. There are certain stages. It's like building a brick wall. I put a post on Facebook, and by the way, if you're not on Facebook, I don't know if it's made it to Instagram yet, but I post on Facebook all the time the thoughts that I've had as I'm going through my life. I don't see myself as an influencer. I see myself as someone sharing their journey. I don't even have a word for it. I don't even know what it is. An experiential? I don't know. But I'm living out loud. I live my life out loud. I record it all. I use Facebook like a diary. I literally write down in there what's happening. And I hope that by doing so, that others of you on the same journey as me, because we're all on this journey together, right, will gain something from those posts. It's not a necessarily just a verbal play on here's my life, come and see how brilliant I am. I don't think that. What I think is that there are things that are universal. There are things that mean the same for all of us. And right now, today, I'm in a really busy patch. I started this morning with a presentation to a team in Italy, and I'm finishing it here with you guys. In the meantime, I've had a mastermind, I've had a masterclass, and I've had a one-to-one call. So it's been bang, 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 bang. I think I've had about 10-20 minutes off between each call all day. So after this, I'm going to go and collapse on my bed and just be horizontal for a bit with my cats. But this is where it's so important. There's this brilliant Nirvana song, Come As You Are. And one of the biggest pieces that I've learned on my journey is that every step of my journey has given me something. Even the hard bits have given me something. Yes, Archie, be yourself, because everyone else is taken. And when I'm on brand, when I'm living out loud, when I'm doing my stuff as well, it's because of all of those steps. If I'd missed even one of them, I wouldn't have had some of the pillars that I've had. Yes, you can. A lot of people will talk to you about quantum leaping and collapsing time. And, there is no time. Everything is now. And you are who you are because of the journey that you've been on, because of this amazing ability we have to learn from each step along the way, because of this amazing focus we have as humans. So step one is be who you are now, not just who you want to be. Because if you imagine it like we are all on the climb, so imagine we're all climbing up the side of a mountain or a ladder. I like to use climbing as an analogy because I think it really helps you to understand this way of doing business and life, is to have one hand holding on tight to where you are now, really owning where you are now, but owning it with gratitude for everything that you've got right now. And that hand that holds on is your stability. The other hand is reaching in desire for where you're going. And that hand is your growth. And that lovely balance between stability and growth is what holds you safe as you grow. You miss any piece of that, and you can't reach if you're not holding on tight, and you can't, it just works. The trouble is we forget and we get distracted. So the first rule about holding on tight to where you are and then reaching is all about the gratitude piece. Because as soon as we start moving into, I wish I was her, I wish I was him, we're coming from a place of lack. The universe doesn't like that. The universe doesn't like when you come from things in a place of I haven't got it. As soon as you say, I want, you're saying because I haven't got it yet. So as soon as you're starting to say, God, look at them, they're amazing, they're absolutely smashing it, you're missing out on what you do have. So for example, today, I had this amazing experience where this company in, the meeting was in France. I think they are Italian and the company has a base in England. It's a brilliant story, isn't it? Very, very cosmopolitan. But they reached out to me last week and just said, can you do this slot for us? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Can you talk about this, and this? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And can you do the profiles? Can you do the big cat brain and talk about how the team communicates? I'm like, yeah, I can do all of that. Now that is mine to give. So I can do that. Could I have done that a year ago? Maybe not. Could I have done it 2 years ago? Definitely not. Could I have done it 3 years ago? Well, I haven't even invented the bloody stuff by then. So, where I was then and what I was offering then isn't what I'm offering now. But where I am now, that call can come in, I can take it and go, I earned 4 figures for that, for 30 minutes work. Literally, it took me 30 minutes and with a bit of chat either end. And so really, when you look at it, this is the power. This is when the power base begins to make sense, because the growth that I've had in these 3 years enables me to pick up that phone and say, yes, straight away. But had I started by trying to position as that, would I have been authentic? No. But there's this huge tendency to put on a coat and pretend that you're bigger than you are in order to get the clients, in order to, no, ground. Come to where you are now. Come to where you are, come as you are, learn the terrain that your feet are on now, and then be you. Number 1, be you. Rule number 2, then what? Then you've got to move. Then you've got to start walking. That lovely quote, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday, but the second best time to plant a tree is today. Don't look at what you haven't done. Don't obsess about where everyone else is. Just walk. Just pick up yourself and walk. Because you guarantee by putting one foot in front of the other, you'll get somewhere else. You guarantee it. I can also guarantee you, if you don't move and you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. If you stay where you are now, if you stay stuck, if you stay nailed to that sofa, you are never going to get that dream house. You are never going to get that dream life. You're never going to get that dream business. I guarantee you 100%. If you never move, if you never challenge yourself, if you never grow your skills, you will stay stuck. Now, how do I know this? Because I've been stuck too. I like to say I am you because I really am. I was once stuck. I was once in that place where I told lies, where I didn't deliver, where I've lived that version of me and I didn't like it very much. I've made better choices. I've made better choices and I've made bigger moves. And So rule number 2 is be bold. Be bold with your choices. Be you, but then be bold with it. Because the next version of you, the next iteration of you. So I'm speaking to you today in this iteration of myself that can pick up the phone and say yes to a meeting that nets 4 figures for doing pretty much very little. Like, let's be honest, 30 minutes work is not very little. It's not very much. It's very little comparative to, for example, a teacher that works 10 hours a day, a nurse that works a 12-hour shift. You know, I feel this work can be very little, but its worth, its value to companies is massive. It's massive. But I can do that based on the iteration of who I am today. I wasn't always this version of me. I wasn't always this person who says it means it does it. I had to evolve to that. And I had to go through some painful bits as well. My profile type is I am, in talent dynamics terms, they call me the star. In my profile type, it's called the guide. But the guide is all about, I've lived it and got it wrong. And then I come back and show you how to get it right based on having lived it wrong, right? There is a huge humility and gratitude that comes with that. And there's a huge experience in being bold and doing it anyway, even when you've done it wrong before. So I'm going to urge you, even if you don't feel like you're doing it perfectly, please just do it. Please just start. And please just begin. Plant the tree. Plant the tree. Because only by moving do we get the learning. Otherwise, we do what's called a vicious circle, where we start by saying, I can't do this. It then moves you to feel stuck. I don't want to do this. You then don't get any evidence and no feedback, no data comes in. So then you get no results. And what then happens is you then say to yourself, see, I knew I couldn't do it. I have just proven myself right. Well done, you. You've proven yourself. Staying stuck is safe. Why is it safe? Because your brain exists to keep you alive, not to keep you happy. And I say this lots of different ways, in lots of different times, and in lots of different masterclasses. But this is our fundamental flaw as humans. So me talking to this team this morning, one of my jobs was to go in and help them with their team communication. So I run a product that's called Tame Your Team, which is just about that, which is just about building the communication piece between people, because what we send isn't always what's received. And so we might think we're coming across a certain way, but we end up not. So if you've done a talent dynamics profile, you'll know that you get certain skill sets, certain superpowers that are based on what your natural brain type is, right? So my profile takes it another layer into the team dynamics and into the focus for how we communicate with other people, and that goes into love languages and things like that. So what that means is there's how we think we are coming across and there's how we're actually coming across. So when we say be bold, part of that is from self-knowledge, right? From self-awareness as to what is it that my profile does really well. But the next step layers on top of this in a completely different way. And to talk about this, I've got to go into story a little bit here, because there was a time, and again, I always teach from story, as you know, because by holding my stories as part of your knowledge, you have evidence. You might not have evidence for yourself yet. You might need to borrow mine. You might need to let me be your evidence until you build your own. Because being the guide, being the star is all about lighting the way and about leading the way. And so for me, the stories of my life, I like to share because they then benefit other people. They don't just become my diary, they become your learning, because by reading mine, you can imagine yours. So it's a way of stepping you forward in time and getting you to the end, living as if you're already at the end by borrowing my history. So it's very much a question of what is it that I'm talking about that you can believe. So I'm going to give you one of my stories, which is about a time in my life which was not very comfortable. And you can see my body's getting uncomfortable just going back there. I'm a bit like, because I'm very tuned in somatically. I am an intuitive coach, which means when I'm coaching, I get urges, I get instincts as to where to go with my line of questioning. And that's because what I do is read the micro signals, and I read the body shifts, the energy shifts, which is just as possible. I've discovered in the last 3 years of a pandemic, I can do that over Zoom just as well as I can face to face, which is lucky when you think about it, right? So those 10K months would not have lasted very long if I suddenly got on Zoom and was like, can't do my job anymore. So the micro shifts, the micro expressions, the fleeting moments that come across people's faces are very interesting to me. And there was a time when I didn't even know this. I didn't even know that was a superpower that I had, or that indeed it could be used like this. And there was a time that I was living in huge amounts of physical pain. And so my body had frozen up. And so that's why my body twitches when I start talking about this time, because the memory of it is still somatically deep in my tissues. And this time was a painful time because in theory, it's one of the most wonderful time that you can live through as a woman. In a woman's life, pregnancy is supposed to make you go all glowy, isn't it? It's supposed to make you look all Laura Ashley, all wistfully staring out the window, wearing an Alice band and like, no. I was a puking gargoyle. Like, I'm not even joking. I think I fell pregnant and I was sick like the day one. And then I was sick the next day. And then I was sick 3 times a day. And then I was literally losing weight. So I fell pregnant and I lost a stone in the first 12 weeks. So if you can imagine this, like you imagine this picture of glowing health and pregnancy where you get to eat all the foods and it's like a get out of jail free card for the first time in your life because you're burning no, puking calories. So I would firstly, I'd feel sick, too sick to eat, and then I'd struggle to eat something, and then I'd puke that up as well. And so I became very depleted. Now this was at a time when I was actually working quite hard. So I decided in my wisdom to pop out a baby whilst at university, and not just any university, dear reader, not just any university, but one of the premier universities in the world where their educational standards are quite high. Yes, it was Cambridge University, and I was doing a medical degree. So again, not just any degree. Some degrees have got like 1 hour of tuition on a Wednesday and 2 hours on a Friday. No, this is 9 to 5 lectures and practicals where you're chopping up bodies and, doing lots of high level clinical pathology in a lab, staring down. You can't get away from this degree is what I'm saying. So I was there doing this degree, having the most god-awful time. And it became a place of pain. It became a place of, I would wake up in the morning and go, oh God, not another day. And the worst thing is I'd done it to myself. I'd chosen to get pregnant. So I had no one to blame. Nobody to blame apart from I'd signed up to this course. I've chosen to get pregnant. And when I did, some of my lecturers looked at me and went, so you're gonna drop out then? And I was like, no, it's not a disease. It's not a disability. It's normal. It's totally normal. Be fine. I'll be fine. Little did I know. So I basically spent the next 9 months absolutely hellishly ill with this pregnancy. And then it came to the time of giving birth. And now those of you in the room that have given birth will know this. You cannot plan what the birth is going to be like. You've got no idea. You can have an idea in your head perhaps, but the biomedical nature of it means that things shift, things change. But I had decided I'm gonna have a home birth. I'm gonna give birth at home. And so I got all the kit, I got the birth pool, I got all the candles, it's gonna be amazing. No. I had a midwife who had never done a home birth before. So she spent her whole time trying to tell me to go into hospital. And she spent her whole time trying to tell me it's not working. This is not working. And I had to stand in my power as a female sovereign of my own body. And I had to resist all her attempts to examine me every 5 minutes. And I had to say, this will work. This will work. I have never been more determined in my life than in the face of that this is not going to work. And guess what? There was a point where she said, look, you're 2 centimeters dilated. I'm going to have to take you into hospital. I, just to spite her, went to 10 centimeters dilated in an hour. Apparently that's not physically possible. Yeah, I did. I decided. And so I gave birth at home and the baby popped out. And you think that's your journey as a mother. For those of you that have had kids that have had a pregnancy, there's a defined length, right? There's a time span of which you're pregnant, and it's roughly 9 months. In France, I love it. They have a birth week rather than a due date, but we know the length of that. What they don't tell you is that's the easy bit. What they don't tell you, because I think they keep it secret for a reason. What they don't tell you is your work starts the minute that baby pops out. So there was me thinking, oh, thank God, I've come through the fire. I've made it through. Now I can rest. And the mothers in the room and the fathers in the room might be laughing at me right now for thinking naivety is great, isn't it? But that's what I believed. And so then began one of the hardest periods of my life, after one of the hardest periods of my life, because no one had told me. Everyone had kept it quiet. So I thought, holy crap, surely you just tuck the baby under your arm and carry on with your life, don't you? No, that's not how it works. And so I then began trying to juggle my degree, my work. I was also running a piano school at the time, my holiday job. So I was also a trainer for a big corporate company in the city during my time off university. So I was now suddenly spinning all these plates. And there was never a time when I felt like I was winning. But what I want to impress upon you, and the reason I'm telling you this, is that when I looked back, all the dots joined up. And then it became a lovely story. And then it became something that people would go, wow, you're amazing. And I was like, you were not there. I was not very amazing at all. And then it became something where people said, God, I don't know how you juggled all that. And I'm thinking, but I didn't. I really didn't. Like, I dropped the ball every day. I had no idea what I was doing and I made it up as I went along. Except it doesn't look like that when you look back. And so the message of rule number 3 is really, 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 really important. After you be you, after you be bold, you must then be faith. You must then be faith. Because faith is belief without proof. I had no proof that baby was going to pop out at home, but I determined it was going to be so. I had no proof that I could run those 3 different jobs, but I was determined it was going to be so. You must be the proof, because that changes your actions. Belief without proof is something completely different than just hope. It's something completely different than just affirmations. So I want you right now, I like to get you to do something. I want you to pick up your pen if you want to keep it private, or jump in the chat if you want to claim this out loud. What is it you need to have complete faith that you are going to pull off, that you are going to make happen? What is it that you are ready right now to put on the table and ask the universe to help you with by giving it your faith, by being that faith? What are you right now going to be bold enough that you know is something that's you, that's dialed into the Eunice, that is really important to you, that is a goal you are determined, not just interested, but determined, committed to making happen? If you're ready to share it, pop it in the chat right now. Because this is a form of commitment. This is a form of saying, I am making this happen. Joyce is in there. Wearable art clothing. I love that, Joyce. That is getting my brain whirring. That's beautiful. Wearable art clothing. I like that. What are you committed to? Not just, the difference between being interested in a relationship and being committed in a relationship? If you're just interested in a relationship, you behave entirely different than if you are 100% committed. If I was just interested in my child's welfare, I'd be very different than I am 100% committed to A, keeping you alive, B, making sure you don't get abducted, C, making sure you don't drown. There's a lot of things I'm committed to. Archie, building that beautiful eco home. Archie, write that again. Build my beautiful eco home. I dare you. I dare you. Peter, the South Africa Ataxia Awareness Support Group. I love it. Duncan, my granddaughter is going to have an amazing childhood here in, I'm going to say Fukuok. Am I saying that in anywhere near roughly correct pronunciation? Beautiful. Well done.
Perfect.
Ah, good work. Yes, Archie, build my beautiful eco. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. And I'm going to help you do that. And I've got more faith in you than you have in you at the moment. And you can borrow my faith in you until yours grows. Archie's one of my beloved one-to-one clients, for those that don't know. And this is where this works, because when we ask you to call out what you actually are committed to, something shifts in your brain. It goes into a different part. The parietal complex kicks in and it stores it in human Google. Oh, we're doing this? Oh, okay. We're doing this. Okay. And then the parietal complex starts to work for you and foraging around in your behaviors to select the behaviors that move you closer to, not further from. Did you know that? There's a reason why faith works. There is a reason why faith works. Belief without proof is a neural mechanism. Anya's saying, create profitable life coaching practice. Yeah, you will, Anya. Anya's coming with me on her next journey. So this is how this gets exciting, because being faith, and I'm going to give you another picture. I love to talk in pictures because you can hold the meaning behind it so much easier. So do you remember when kids get to the age of like roughly 6, roughly 7, immediately their face begins to change, because the very first thing that happens is their front teeth fall out, right? They immediately get to that point where they've got this beautiful gappy rabbit tooth smile. And what's really cool is they've had those teeth since about 6 to 12 months old. Those teeth start coming through, right? And those teeth are there for 6 years, and that's their face. And those teeth are little tiny, little stubby teeth, little tiny, beautiful, pearly white squares. Then those teeth go. And what comes in their place is big, honking great slabs of rectangular things with big ripply edges. Have you seen that happen? It's hilarious. They go from this cute little baby face smile to suddenly these big, giant rabbit teeth out of nowhere. And what's interesting, what's really cool, is when we take x-rays of children, those big teeth are already lined up behind the baby teeth. They're already there. You just can't see them. They're there in the skull. They're formed already. They're there already. But there's a while where the baby teeth leave and nothing has come through in its place. And as a mother for my first child, I had this moment of thinking, what if my child is the first one who never gets grown up teeth? Because she had this gap for ages. And I just had this moment of like, what if this never ever comes back? Then what would happen? And of course, eventually they come. But for a while, all you've got is faith that they're going to come, right? And growing a life, growing a business is the same. Things have to leave. I shut down a very profitable mastermind a year ago. Why? It was no longer aligned. And so I knocked it on the head and I just went, and we're closed. And everyone went, what? And I went, bye. And I just closed the doors. And these were clients that I've worked with for like, I think we'd been in that mastermind. So they'd come on my brand new course, and brand new, I'll talk to you a bit more about brand new at the end. They'd come on my brand new course for the journey of that. And that is 8 modules over 4 months. It's an amazing course. There's 4 months of growth with me. And then at the end, I open up a mastermind container for them and say, if you want to continue your journey. And so they've been with me through all of brand new. And this was round 6, I think. And they'd had all that journey and all that excitement. And then they got to the end and every single one of them said, yes, we're in. And I was like, wow, I've never had that before. So all 10 of them signed up for this mastermind. And so when we did the next round of brand new, the next one, which was 7, I made the same offer. And all of those came in. I was like, oh, crap, now I'm really busy. And so it got bigger and bigger. And suddenly I couldn't hold it. And what I said earlier about the iteration of me is different now than it was a year ago. Oh, my God, I've learned so much. I just held a masterclass for 100. I think we had 120 in the Facebook group. A year ago, that would have been a stretch. I wouldn't have known what to do with that many people. This year, I had the best time of my life. Some of you were in this. This was called 5 Days to Fully Booked, and it was just such a brilliant blast. Yes, Peter's there. Peter was in the gang. And those of you that weren't there, you can buy the recording of that now. I think we're putting that out for, I think it's $111. So if you want the recording of that, let me know in the chat, or drop Rob an email on rob@camkaren.com, and we can send you the recording. It's an amazing masterclass because it's like 5 hours of solid content on exactly what we're talking about here today, with a module for each. And so where you are now isn't where you're going to be in a year. But if you start selling things that in a year will fit you, but you can't do them now, you are going to be uncomfortable. Oh, thank you, Anne. You're saying it was awesome. Yes, brilliant. We had a great time. But you are going to be uncomfortable throughout all of your journey. So you've got to hold the faith that those teeth are coming, but you've got to live for you now. And so living for you now is the important part. And what do we mean by that? We mean add your dreams to your desire, your will for it to happen, and you will reach your destiny. I know that sounds quite dramatic, but add together the dream that you've got, the desire to make it happen, everything else falls into place. Everything else will fall into place. Bye, Helga. When we talk about dreams and desire, what we're talking about is what you've decided that you're going to make happen, just like me being stubborn as hell and deciding what I was going to call out in life. And so be faith means about living in a way that means that that is coming, that means that those teeth are coming through, that means that you know it's coming for you. It frees you to behave in a certain way. What's rule number 4? Please love yourself while you're doing this. Be love. So after be faith comes be love. If you are beating yourself up about what you haven't done, if I focused, for example, this morning, that section where I dropped into a company and talked at them for half an hour and then came out, I come out of that and I notice what I didn't do. But look at the word I'm using. I notice what I didn't do, and I make a note of it for next time. What I don't do is immediately relentlessly beat myself up. What I don't do is immediately hate on myself for what I didn't achieve. What I don't do is immediately tell myself off for what wasn't accomplished. What I do is celebrate the hell, holding on tight in gratitude for what is. So I came off that call and I went, yes, I packed a load in to 30 minutes. That was awesome. Next time I'm going to add this, this, this. So we just notice in a curious way. Be curious about your progress, but don't attach the heat. There's only 4 real emotions: mad, bad, sad, and glad. Mad, bad, sad, and glad is a great way to quantify the world. And when we act from love, what we notice is that we can be more loving about what we did and didn't do. We can be more loving, and therefore we stay in more of the glad emotions than feeling the bad emotions, which are shame, guilt, fear. The bad emotions exist, again, to try and keep you safe, to try and stop you from hurting yourself. But what they also do is they disable you a little bit. And they mean that you don't get to act in the same way. Remember I said about the parietal complex in your brain? Here's the thing. When you go into beating yourself up, and let's be honest, jump in the chat and give me a 10 if in the last 6 months you have spectacularly beaten yourself up at least once about something you did or didn't do. Let's just hear it. 11, says Peter. Let's just hear it. Let's just see each other. Let's just witness each other. If in the last 6 months that you have, last 6 hours, says Duncan, you have spectacularly gone after yourself, beating yourself up, and 10 times 10 times 10, says Archie. Spectacularly going after yourself like a dog and tearing yourself down. What that does, thank you everybody, thank you for sharing, I appreciate you all. What that does is it makes you less likely to be bold next time. It makes you less likely to be you next time. It makes you less likely to be Faith next time. Can you see where I'm going with this? Right? We set up those vicious circles that I talked about earlier. So correcting yourself with love, correcting your course. Remember that aeroplane, when we throw it up in the air, is off course 98% of the time it's in the air. Correcting back to true is our job on this journey, but doing it with love. So last one. In order to be crushing it out there, and I've boldly titled this one 5 days to fully booked. Obviously it took me more than 5 days, but what I mean by 5 days to fully booked is 5 pieces that you can practice one at a time, one day at a time. And every day that you practice this, you get better at it, right? So 5 days to fully booked is all about building a killer business, a killer product that is absolutely what people need. What does that actually look like? It looks like being on brand for what it is that you're offering. So for example, and I'm not talking visually, okay? So there's a visual brand. So you know me as a visual brand. I tend to wear pearls. I always wear the same necklace. I tend to wear a collared shirt. That's my brand. I've got my fairy lights up behind me, my angel wings that Peter tells me are upside down. I don't care. I like them that way. And I've got my crystals visible. I've got my flip chart because I usually move into learning pieces. You can see there I drew out a flow graph for my Italian clients earlier, and we've got this loop of your behaviors drive your thoughts and emotions, which then drive more behaviors, and they can feed back negatively and impair behaviors as well. So you can see there's learning behind me. This is my visual brand. Clear? That isn't my brand. It's just what I look like from the outside world. So you could stumble across a go live of mine in Genius U or in another Facebook group. So I go live in Women Helping Women. I go live in the Sisterhood for Alpha Entrepreneurs. Oh, by the way, I've got a new Facebook group for you all to join, which is called The 6-Figure Secrets of Success, which is where I'll be doing more of the neuroscience. And so those of you that have loved today and the neuroscience component of this, come into the 6-Figure Secrets, and we're going to be doing more in there as well. But when you see me, when you see this image, you'll go, oh, that's Libby. Oh, I know that one. Or you might not remember her name. Oh, that's that weird girl that went from 2 centimetres to 10 centimetres dilated in an hour, even though that's medically impossible. But you'll recognise me visually from what you see around you. That's just visual brand, right? What I'm talking about when I say be brand, so rule number 5, be brand. So just to recap, I like a bit of a recap. Number 1, be you. Come as you are. Number 2, be bold. Make your move. Number 3, be Faith. Trust the teeth are coming through. Number 4, be love. Correct yourself with love. And number 5, be on brand. So that means, what do you stand for? I wrote a post yesterday, and again, go and look at my Facebook, see what I mean about using it like a diary. I wrote a post that was about, make sure you choose your mentors carefully. So mentors are all about being in a way, leading you. Mentors are about helping you go somewhere. How can you choose a mentor that wants to go somewhere different to you? How can you choose a mentor that doesn't have your same goals at heart? How can you choose a mentor that doesn't want the highest good for you? The answer is, unfortunately, you can do it if you're sold their visual brand and you don't look deeper. So what do you stand for? The people that work with me know that I value the planet. They know that I value fighting climate change. They know that I value supporting education for women, and part of my profits go to help pay the school fees for girls in Uganda so they don't get forced into being a second or a third wife, which is what happens to a lot of them. You can see I get a bit table thumpy about this when given a chance to do so. So to me, it's important to support that. I support cleft palate surgery to help children born in countries where that disfigurement means they are rejected from society. So I fund those surgeries every year. I support animal charities. I support, those are my interests. That's what I care about. But what do I care about in business? That's different. That's different. So whilst you might be on board with my socio-political view, Are you on board with my business view? Do you agree with me in the way that I do business? Because if you don't, you won't want me as your mentor. I won't be the right mentor for you. If what you want is to financially rape every client you get for every penny they've got, we're not going to be a match, because that's not what I do. If you want to serve your clients and you want to give them the best value possible and you want them to come away having had an amazing experience and having got deeper connection with their self and being able to hold a sustainable business, come on board. Because it matters. It matters because all of my methods will reflect where I'm going and what I stand for. And what I care about. And you'll notice my prices aren't cheap. I don't do cheap. I will do some free things, but I won't do cheap because the value of the work that I do, I stand behind. There's no word, interestingly, in the English language for something that costs money and is worth every penny. We only have the word expensive, which means there's an expectation that the money is a lot for the value you get. And I hope my brand is the opposite of that. I'm going to invent a new word, I've decided. A new Libbyism is needed. So what is it that you stand for? When I say be brand, what is it you stand for? Because here's the trick. Here's the trick. You have to then go out and be that. You have to live it. I embody everything about my brand. So you won't see me taking pictures of me on a private jet just because that will get me some more buyers, because I don't believe in that. So everything you see in my visual brand is a reflection of me embodying it and living it, because we have to be seen on social media in this marketplace. To be an online business consultant, you have to be seen visibly on social media. So what are you going to be seen as? What do you want to be seen as? Because here's the clue. How can anybody find you if you're wandering around in the woods following everybody else? How can anybody recognize you if you're wearing a mask that looks like your mentor and using her words? How can anyone see who you are if you're not ready to be you, be bold, be faith, be love, and be brand? Tricky, huh? Guess what? I've got a course in it. So this is what I do. I find a problem and then I help solve it. That's my creative energy. That's what I live for. That's what I love doing. And so this course is probably my favorite out of all of them, just because it's been running the longest. This is our 11th cycle of Brand You. And welcome to the launch of Brand You. Today, by the way, is the last day. We're on founder pricing. Tomorrow, the price goes up. So you can still get this course tomorrow. That's not a problem. It will just cost you $1,500 more. So what is Brand You? Brand You is about building out the business that serves you. It's about being you. It's about sinking deep, not into you being a carbon copy of me. Nobody wants that. No one needs that in their life. Brand You is about you living in faith, in love, being bold and making those moves, but doing it in integrity with where you are now. Doing it in a safe way, because there's a lot of people preaching an awful lot of nonsense right now in the market. And so I built this course in rejection of that, in a way to help you grow through these stages, which are very necessary, but doing it with your nervous system intact. Some of the advice I'm seeing out there is a direct and fast path to burnout. And they don't know what they're peddling because it worked for them, but they're peddling it to some people whose neurotype will not cope with that. Whether you're neurodivergent or neurotypical, it doesn't matter. Some of the neurotypes out there are preaching, do it like me. I did this, I got to 1 million in 16 minutes. And so they're not aware of how that's going to affect the people that they're coaching. And I'm coming at this, as you know, from a neuro standpoint. Everything that I do is about Tame your brain. To tell you, please do this in a way that makes you feel good. Because if you don't enjoy the journey, the destination is not worth it. And I genuinely believe that. If you don't have fun along the way, if you don't enjoy your journey building a business, what are you doing it for? Because let me tell you, the money on its own ain't enough. It's just not. Money on its own is energy. You don't want money. You want the way you think you'll feel when you get the money. Let me just make that really clear to you. So if you're coming at it from a place of lack, of I just want to be able to afford the red bottom shoes and the LV bag, I just want to fly first class, I just want to. That is like climbing that ladder, letting go with both hands, and trying to bunny hop. You tell me, does that work? Does bunny hopping your way up a ladder feel safe? Nuh-uh. You will fall off backwards more times until you realize, hold on tight to where you are in gratitude and reach with desire with one hand. That's how climbing a ladder works. And along the way, it's totally fine to be looking at somebody else climbing that might be a bit higher than you. I am you. I'm just a little bit further along that path. So you might be seeing just my shoes and my shiny shorts and looking at me. But you can look at that and go, I'm coming with you. But climbing is joy in itself. Climbing is elevation. Climbing is lifting yourself. It's ascension. Climbing is about movement. See how all this loops back round. Climbing is about taking you on a journey. So if you're ready to start a journey, I think Rob's put the link in the chat. Good old Rob. Well done. So if you're ready to start the journey, the time is now. It's time to move. And that's this round of Brand New, not the next one, but now. Because time is ticking. Time is moving. And when we're at a decision point, this is when you decide, are you interested or committed? Are you interested in a life-giving business and the life of your dreams, or are you committed to it? Because sometimes we've got to put your money down and say, I am in. Now, if this isn't applicable for you right now, if you don't have the funds, I have built 2 payment plans into this for you, because my values are that I don't feel like it's nice to penalise people for not having the funds available right now. That makes me feel bad. So there's no reason for me to do that in my business. So the payment plan means you'll pay the same if you can pay in full now. Some people I personally like to pay in full because I put my money down as a symbol to myself that I'm in. I'm all in. I'm doing this. That's the luxury of having a grown-up business. If you're not there yet, there is a payment plan. Don't feel any shame in choosing a payment plan if that's what is accessible to you now. Just like you found this material as free, my freemium layer. Well done. That's just perfect if that's what you can do right now. If a payment plan is what you can do right now, brilliant. But make your choice. Make your choice and step over the line and take yourself to that next level if you're ready to do so, if this is what you want. Because there are a lot of suppliers out there who won't hold you safe, who won't look after your nervous system as you go. I hope you've realised I'm not one of those people, and I am of the breed that says, come with me on this journey. And that's why I've made it 4 months long, is so that you can walk with me for longer, so we get this stuff regulated. Dysregulated nervous systems are our biggest threat in this industry at the moment. That's why we see so many people getting triggered. We see so many people fighting each other, where we see so many people falling out with each other on the internet, because the nervous system is so important to do right. So please work with someone who knows this stuff. If that's not me, that's fine. If you want to find another mentor, if my values aren't aligned with yours, that's perfect too. Find whoever aligns with you, but please do this work because it's so vital right now, and the world needs more of it. The world needs people in alignment. The world needs people that are in life-giving businesses, working for the greater good, that are putting people and planet in priority more than the profit follows. I don't suffer for profit, as I'm sure you've realised. The profit follows when you put people and planet up there as being important in the world. And so that's my value set. That's my positioning in business. If that aligns with you, come on in. So I think Duncan's helpfully putting in the link to the new Facebook group, which we've just opened, which is the 6-Figure Secrets of Success. And I think Rob's put in the link for Brand New. So if you'd like to click on those and pop them open in another browser so they're ready for you to look at as we close today. Brand New is ready, as I say, for its 11th round. And those of you signing up now are getting a beauteous free gift of one of these stunning little journals. You can see it says there, Tame Your Brain, and it's got the Dr. Libby Kim Karen Tame Your Brain embossed in it. It's got this beautiful blue colour that's my power colour, a little band to hold it shut. And I just want to read to you something as we close. And it says, Dear Libby, it's June the 13th, 2023, and oh, what a year it's been. You've left the village and the release of pressure was huge. Your house is now your castle and you own your own boundaries. I wrote this almost a year ago, You can see it there. It's the start of this journal. I think Liz with the new design that we've just got them, and I just grabbed one and started writing. I wrote this letter. On June the 13th, I wrote that letter. On June the 14th, my friend called me and said, hey, a house has just come on the market that sounds exactly like the dream house you were describing to me that you were looking for and you couldn't find. And it's in the village you liked as well. June the 15th, I drove to that house and saw it, and I just said, mine. June the 16th, I went around, did a tour. June the 17th, put an offer in, and it was accepted. Now, here's the little fun part of that story. There was a bidding war. There were 4 other interested parties, and I think there were 9 viewings already booked when I just rocked up. Move aside, I'm coming through. I literally commanded the universe, holding on tight in gratitude for what I had, but reaching very high in desire. And I'm sitting here today in my beautiful house, and I am here now since December the 17th, so it took us 6 months to move. And honestly, it is just so lovely to see your dreams and your desire made into a destiny. My kids are now growing up with this amazing garden with its own woods at the bottom and with trees to climb and with so much room that the front garden is, I think, 3 times as big as the entire plot of my last property. And then there's the back garden, which is like another 10 times. And this house is everything that I'm going to get emotional now. This house is everything I dreamed of. It's everything I held as a vision, as I held on tight in gratitude to what I had, but I kept reaching. So I'm going to urge you, with all the love in the world, if this excites you the way it excites me, and I hope you can feel my energy coming down the screen at you, if this excites you as much, come on into my world. If the Facebook group is all you can manage at the moment, come into there. If you can join me in the Tame of Your Brain Academy membership, which is a monthly fee to be with me more like this in the month to keep your nervous system tuned up, come into there. But my biggest offering to you at the moment is brand new. It's my favourite course. So the link's in there. Come on in. I can't wait to get to know you all. Anya's already in. I'm going to see you in there. This is such a joy to be with you. Thank you for being part of my world today. Thank you, Duncan, for having me. I'm going to close.
Wonderful, Libby, as ever. Does anybody need anything? Drop it into the chat. If you do, we've shared the links. I think you know where to find us. Guys, if you want more info or you don't know what to click on, drop me an email and I'll connect things up for you. Thanks so much, Libby, and thanks to all of you for being here. And don't forget, you can watch your replay, which I certainly will, over in the Tame Your Brain Circle on Genius U.
Thank you so much.
See you here next month, guys.